Why, hello there everyone. I'm Laxow, aka the Kumo Sensei. Minasan, ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning everyone, and this video is going to be a bit late, which is actually a day late, so it's Saturday instead of the usual Friday, and I do have some reasons for this, but before we begin, let us start by talking about these rehouses. So today I'm going to be rehousing these Poecilotheria striatas, also known as the Mysore ornamental tarantulas, and these are pretty much at juvenile sizes, and I don't really plan on keeping any of these. In the beginning, I did say I wanted to keep a couple or maybe a few as a pair, but I really just don't have time, and currently my financial situation is not so great, which I'll discuss about that later on in this video, and it is going to kind of explain why this video is a bit late. But let's get back into these tarantulas, right? So when it comes to rehousing, I think everyone knows by now that rehousing is probably my least favorite step in tarantula keeping. And I know some people enjoy it, but for me, the only reason why I don't enjoy rehousing is really just because you have to clean out the old enclosures once you rehouse your tarantula into a new, bigger enclosure. And I'm not really the biggest fan of cleaning out old enclosures because it's more like washing dishes, but a step above that. So when it comes to Poecilotherias in general, this genus is actually a genus I have worked with for a very long time actually. And it's pretty much a genus I usually try to breed way back then, because in my experience, when it comes to this tarantula market, I find that Poecilotherias tend to retain the most value. I'm not saying they become more expensive over time, but they don't lose value compared to a lot of other tarantulas. It seems like the supply and demand for Poecilotherias tend to retain a pretty good balance in comparison to most other species where they become too saturated, which depreciates the value overall. Now, I do think that the Poecilotheria metallica, the Goody Sapphire ornamental tarantula, I think that tarantula is still a bit of the more expensive side. And while I do understand that people want the blue tarantula, quote unquote, I also do think that its value is a bit too high in my personal opinion. It could go down a bit more, but I'm not one to judge the market here when it comes to Poecilotherias, but I'm just speaking from my personal experience here, so don't take my word as gospel, to each their own. So now I guess let's talk about why this video is late and what's currently going on in my personal life. So I usually try to not include my personal life in these kind of matters because I really just want to stick with tarantulas and exotic stuff, but allow me to explain what has happened. So I'm financially not in the best spot right now. I'm not in a bad spot, but it's not great either. So I'm gonna be super busy next week and probably the next month or two. So I don't really know how the uploading schedule is gonna be like. I know I will upload on Tuesday, next Tuesday that is, but I don't know how it's gonna go from there. So my uploading may be a bit on and off on time, depending on how it goes. And I may not upload for a week or so on some occasions because it's just not looking so great. So yeah, financial situation in my personal life is not bad, but it's not great either. And also, it seems like the economy is not so great for some reason. I don't know why, but the supplies where I usually buy my stuff from for my tarantulas and exotic pets, they don't really have anything in stock. So I'm constantly being put on a wait list until they basically resupply. And I don't know why it's becoming more and more common. It's like supplies are becoming more expensive or just harder to come by. And I don't really want to buy my stuff from PetSmart or Petco or any of those pet store chains because I think that their prices are way too expensive, especially for cork bark. But I don't really buy cork bark, I just use driftwood. But you understand where I'm coming from though, just that my financial situation isn't the best. And it seems like no matter how hard I work or how many jobs I take up, it's just not enough. But I'm going to be working more just until I can get myself back together a little bit. So it's time to grind out some more work hours, which is not something people want to hear, but it needs to be done though. So although my time may be a bit short when it comes to taking care of my tarantulas because I'm going to be working more hours, I should be able to handle them because my collection is reduced and it is much smaller now than it was back then. So it shouldn't be a problem on my tarantulas end. It's just that I wouldn't really have time to actually edit and record a video because that takes a lot of time, believe it or not. More time than most people would think. But maybe I'll do some community posts or something to keep people updated on what's happening in my collection. But don't worry everyone, because I'll get through it. I got through it once during the pandemic and I'll get through it again. So just wait, it's not a big deal, I promise. but I could really use a break or two or a vacation once in a while, which I cannot, which is kind of funny to say. When it comes to work, I really don't take any breaks or any vacations because I prefer working because I need the money, because I'm financially, not the most wealthiest person. So work it is, which honestly no one likes the 9-to-5 jobs, but it needs to be done and you got to get somewhere, right? So that's currently my plan as of now, and I hope everyone understands where I'm coming from. Even though I'm a very good tarantula breeder and a YouTuber, I guess, if people want to consider me that, I personally don't. I'm still just a regular person just like everyone else, working a 9-to-5 job or working multiple jobs like I do, just trying to get by in life. I don't really consider myself any more bigger or more special than anyone else. I don't really try to live beyond my means, so I try to live life as simple as I can whenever possible. But hey, I love tarantulas and tarantulas are a part of me. So I guess I'll call this a video for today. So, without further ado, as always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to stick around. I upload every single Tuesday and Friday, and I'm not too sure how the uploading schedule will be this upcoming few weeks or so, but let us wait and see, right? And also, support me on my social medias, such as my IG and Patreon. Shout out to my Patreon members, such as Kel, for keeping my tarantulas fed. Anything helps. And with that, stay lax, and Laxow out from the Kumo Sensei.